Racist woman starts swore in restaurant after seeing what diners were doing inside. Big mistake. The Cracker Barrel restaurant chain is known and loved for their down-home American cooking and comfortable Southern-style environment. It's one of America's most frequented places to eat that could soon look a lot different if one racist woman gets her way. While it's easy to know what to expect with an eatery like this, pYLSVe apparently was not prepared for what she saw when she walked inside. The loudmouth social justice warrior pitched a fit as seemingly as soon as she was seated, starting a nasty war that didn't end well for her. pYLSVe apparently lost her appetite at the sight which she was allegedly forced to endure. It only took seconds for her to go into a fearful place of defense, claiming she was afraid for her life and began calling on the masses for help and sympathy. It was in this self-induced fragile state that she put herself in over the most ridiculous of offenses that she launched into unprovoked offensive, racist attack on white people, BizPac Review reported. Wondering if she would make it out alive, pYLSVe pulled out her phone out and told everyone on Twitter what was going on around her. There wasn't a terrorist attack underway, shooting between thugs, or any other emergency. What became unbearable to pYLSVe was the sea of white folk in cowboy hats who filled the restaurant. This racist sight alone was enough to set her off, which soon proved to be a big mistake. At Cracker Barrel for the first time. Looking at the sea of white folk in cowboy hats and wondering, will they let my black ass walk out of here? pYLSVe asked publicly, completely devoid of how racist her message was. Had the races of the diners and Twitter been reversed, there would have been a riot by now. Instead, her remarks came back to bite her in a different way. BizPac Review reports. The tweet is a reflection of a growing trend in America that's proving to be politically acceptable, that being to openly attack white folks for no other reason than the color of their skin. A stance that finds its roots in the tenets of critical race theory, a narrative that points to institutional racism and the myth of white privilege to state that all white people are inherently racist. This radical theory was thrust into the mainstream during the Barack Obama presidency. None of the white folk in cowboy hats did a thing to pYLSVe other than being born a different skin color than her own and enjoying the same Americana food that she apparently does. The other patrons weren't even aware of what she was stirring up while in their presence, while she tweeted as a martyr from a table next to theirs. Her racist entertainment knows no bounds with what she dared to do after her initial message to the world about the people in Cracker Barrel. Perhaps the mixed-race activist picked this place knowing that she could use it bolster her social status among those who feel as deprived in society by their skin color as she does. After all, this isn't the first time she stirred up the ire acting as the victim when literally nothing had been done to her. pYLSVe puts herself in situations where she can stir the pot in an attempt to bring attention to the apparent racism in America. The only problem is, she doesn't get the reaction from the white people that she's expecting, but seems to act like the victim nonetheless. Ironically, she tries to thrive on publicly assuming things about a group of people based solely on their skin color as an activist against this very thing. When someone brings that to her attention on the same forum she uses to spread this narrative, they're promptly banned as to not get in the way of her rhetoric. She wouldn't want a little truth to ruin her perfectly effective fable about the threat of white men in cowboy hats in America. After all, she's getting some social media mileage out of it, calling of her minions to track down all the Cracker Barrel supporters. Cracker Barrel let pYLSVe stay and eat despite the disparaging remarks she was making from one of their tables about all of the other patrons. She should be supporting this restaurant as well for showing her class, courtesy, and common decency that she was too racist to do in return for the restaurant and their other customers.